I don't like seeing new students studying prepositions with this kind of graphics. Of course, English kids use them at school, but they already speak English even before they start school. Because of these charts, Spanish students learning English think that up always means arriba, down, abajo, over, encima. Even when they use them with verbs, they keep thinking their meaning is still the same, when prepositions can now mean something different or even more, the opposite. Let me show you some examples. In contrast to Spanish, there are lots of prepositions in English, and what's more, you can combine them together to make more prepositions. That's why nobody really knows the exact number of prepositions in English. The other major problem for Spanish speakers is the translation, because the same English preposition can be translated into many other Spanish prepositions or not at all. Two very good examples of the prepositions up and down, often translated to arriba y abajo into Spanish. This meaning usually disappears when we use these prepositions in sentences. I always tell my students about my first time in Chicago when I asked a guy where I could find a cafe, and the man said, "You have one down the street." I started looking side to side because to me, down always meant abajo in Spanish. But in this context, it's more like at the end of the street. So you have to look for the numbers of the buildings, and when you see a higher number, you go down street. And when you see a lower number, you go up the street. What's more, even when you want to mean arriba o abajo in Spanish, you won't use the words up and down alone. For instance, if you want to say the position of the red female figure, you will usually say she's upstairs. Same situation in the street. Estar arriba o cuesta arriba is uphill or up the hill, and the opposite, downhill or down the hill. Same thing happens with on, because we always think it means encendido o encender, or off, apagar o apagado. But do you know we use the same preposition when something se enciende solo automáticamente, such as your alarm? And now you are probably wondering why prepositions can be translated into Spanish to so many different and opposite meanings. Well, it's because of the phrasal verbs. In many Spanish-speaking countries, we often learn verbs first and prepositions next. But, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to inform that phrasal verbs are more common than regular verbs. For example, the preposition up in this phrasal verb cannot be translated to arriba because it's part of the verb and altogether mean empezar o retomar una actividad in Spanish. Same verb, different preposition. Take down in Spanish could be desmontar, anotar. Take off, is it familiar to you? It often means quitar, sacar, despegar, or take on, which means encararse, desafiar, o hacerse cargo de algo in Spanish. But how the heck we can find out the real meaning of each preposition in Spanish? Well, knowing the position of the preposition inside the sentence could help. Here is the triads method graphic my students use to learn the organization of the most of the sentences in English without using grammar. Here, the preposition is part of the verb. For that reason, you cannot translate the preposition to any word into Spanish. You have to know the meaning of the phrasal verb. But if we place the same preposition in other positions inside the sentence, it could be translated into Spanish to many different meanings or any at all. For example, I will check on the add-on on the smartphone on Monday. In Spanish, el lunes comprobaré la aplicación en el móvil. I'm sure you are freaking out right now. But don't worry, I've used a very strange sentence just to show you an example of 4 different possible translations of the same preposition into Spanish. What I really want to do with this video is helping you understand why learning separated words without a context is a very bad idea. These graphics will help you in the future, but not now. And we are going to learn all these prepositions the way English do. And we will start with the 4 prepositions you will use the most. You are going to love the next video, I promise. Bye for now.